In this episode of the UX Tea Break, I look at usability benchmarking. Well, hello everyone, it's good to see you again. I hope you're bearing up okay. So I've had this question from various people and dodged it, but this week I thought, why not? This version is from Claire Stevens, and she says, how do I go about using a summative usability test to benchmark UX? So I chose this question because I want to talk about why firms benchmark UX. So this is something I've done a lot of in the past, and I've not really questioned it, but more recently, I see a paradox at the heart of usability benchmarking. Well, actually I see two paradoxes. So the first paradox is that the people who are most attracted to usability benchmarking don't need it. And the second paradox is that the people who do need usability benchmarks have better ways of collecting the data. So they don't need summative usability testing either. Let me explain. So let's look at that first paradox. The people who are most attracted to usability benchmarking don't need it. So I've found that benchmarking is a good way to encourage certain people to see the value of usability testing. It's like a gateway drug for firms that haven't done much, if any, usability testing in the past. These firms are kind of low down the UX maturity ladder and they don't see the value of usability. Now, if your experience is anything like mine, I'm sure you've had people dismiss usability as something like making things pretty. That really gets my goat, I'll be honest. I react. I tend to respond by saying, oh yeah, well, did you know you can actually measure usability? You can put numbers on it. And that leads me to explain that there's an ISO standard for usability, ISO 9241. I point out that the standard defines usability in terms of effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction, and I show how we can use success rate, time on task, and an end of test survey to measure those three attributes. And that's led me to do work like this. I've created usability dashboards like this for websites, apps, and physical products, even microwave ovens, believe it or not. And in my experience, these dashboards really capture the interest of senior managers in the way that a standard usability test report doesn't. And I think this is because people see the quantitative data, the graphs, the numbers and so on, and they equate it with serious. It gets them to take usability seriously. But here's the paradox. These low maturity organisations would be much better off not with quantitative data, but with qualitative insights. If you just look at the numbers from a usability test, it's a bit like looking at the football results in the Sunday paper rather than watching the game live. You get the score, but you miss out on the reasons behind it. Product teams in these low maturity organisations have probably never seen a user, so they would learn loads more from watching a handful of people trying to do stuff with their product than they'll learn from a usability dashboard. But people in these organisations don't really trust qualitative data. They think it's less robust, less reliable, and less, business-like. These people have quantitative literacy, but they don't have qualitative literacy. So they decide to benchmark usability, even though they'd be better off with just watching their users. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think that benchmarking usability is important. But the firms that really benefit from measuring usability tend to be much more sophisticated in UX. They're much higher up the usability maturity ladder. And because they're more UX mature, they have data scientists in their product teams. And these data scientists are able to measure attributes like success rate in real time rather than in usability tests. And they do it by using methods like A/B testing, or they set up and track conversion funnels in their web analytics. Now, years ago, of course, pre-digital, these kind of analytics weren't an option. But these days, why collect these measures with a usability test when you can collect the data in real time? But the irony is that these more sophisticated organisations know that it's important to measure how people use their product. They just have quicker and more robust ways of collecting the data than usability testing. And the very best of them triangulate their quantitative data with the qualitative insights from small sample usability tests. So, for example, they might spot an odd behaviour in a usability test, so they check their analytics to see if it's more widespread, or they start with some survey data they have about users and then run a usability test to get more depth. and that helps them learn much more than from using either method alone. So Claire, that's a long-winded and introspective ramble about usability metrics. I doubt it answers your question, but I hope you found it useful anyway. If you have a question you'd like me to not answer in a similar way, please post it below.